Hello, this is Team 1 with Maria Avalos, Eduardo Quioto, Hank Garcia, Robin Jaramillo, and Alyssa Segovia, and we are evaluating the IYRT program.
Team 1 was assigned to the Interagency Youth Resiliency Team, which is outlined here in our RFQ. I'll be going into it more on the next slide. So the Interagency Youth Resiliency Team, or the IYRT, was created in hopes of establishing relationships between youth and a mentor that could lead to an increase of effective transitions into self-sufficiency. This program emphasizes the importance of creating culturally appropriate services since it's going to be dealing with topics such as trauma. By having mentors who have had their own lived experience but have since made a life for themselves out of the system, they can guide the youth in this program with great knowledge and perspective on how to transition into a self-sufficient adulthood. This program is located in San Bernardino County, and their mission is to see the participants have an effective transition into the new stage of their lives through all the training that they get from the mentors, sessions with the youth and the caregivers, and the various activities that the program will provide. The stakeholders are outlined here. Primary stakeholders include San Bernardino County, Children and Family Services, Department of Probation, San Bernardino County Schools, and local child serving agencies. And secondary stakeholders include the mentors, the youth participating in the program, foster care and probation systems, as well as the participants' caregivers. Some context for this program: the IYRT works with a population made up of foster, probation, system-involved, and or underserved youth. As outlined in this reference here, only about 50% of youth in foster care graduate from high school by the time they're 18. This article then went on to show that youth in foster care are more likely than the general population to receive special education services, be absent from school, be suspended from school, drop out, have lower grades, or have to repeat a grade. This demonstrates the need for a program like the IYRT to help boost the academic success in these populations. And by collaborating with one of the stakeholders, the San Bernardino County Schools, they'll be able to better help these participants. There's also a strong need for stability in the lives of these youth, which is why they are using the mentoring services, because they've all faced their own individual experience of trauma, so it's important that they get that guidance. They'll be doing this on a micro and macro level. Micro would be helping the youth directly, and macro would be the training resources that are available, which would be the mentoring services. Because everyone comes from their own unique backgrounds and experiences, there's always potential for individuals to express bias in their own beliefs, whether it be intentional or subconscious. This is especially important in a position of guidance or support, because things like that are extremely influential. However, that feeling of support one gets from their religious or political beliefs definitely can't be generalized to all other individuals. These beliefs can also be really influential when it comes to community programs and their funding. The study that we found discussed how people on different political sides of the spectrum would feel about supporting the funding of these types of programs, and things went both ways. Political influence is not something that the IYRT is aiming for. Through the mentoring program and the resources being given with the IYRT, the stakeholders, the program's goal is to aid the youth directly and through the services that help them.
We'll be using a logic model to further explain how we are going to do things. A logic model is essentially an illustration, or a picture as you will, that describes what our group's going to be doing through simple illustration. Inputs: funding from San Bernardino County and funded through the State Mental Health Services Act. The staff: mentors who are former foster or probation youth. For staff: mentors who are former foster or probation youth and child serving professionals. And resources: Child and Family Services, Department of Probation, county schools, and local child serving agencies. For activities: for mentors, recruitment of mentors, employment of former system-involved youth, mentor/mentee matching interviews, education on how to create culturally and linguistically appropriate activities, provide training for all IYRT staff and child serving professionals on how to work with the program's population. For mentees, provide peer counseling, workshops on topics such as pro-social skill development, effects of trauma or assertiveness training, mentoring with the caregivers, workshops on self-sufficiency, including employment and education, create an intervention plan for youth, providing healthy engagement activities for participants, such as sports or programs about the arts. Outputs: mentor/staff, social media page, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, promo posters, a mentor/mentee survey, the IYRT staff and child serving professionals bi-weekly training sessions, bi-weekly meetings on topics such as pro-social skill development, effects of trauma or assertiveness training. For mentees, provide twice a week one-on-one peer counseling, weekly mentee counseling/skill development workshops, create a guide with the intervention plan, Provide after-school programs such as sports and arts, monthly college/career fair visits, and create SMART, stands for specific, measurable, action, realistic time, goal with mentor. Host and mentee events in collaboration with county schools. For our outcomes short section, increase ability to form positive mental relationships, increased amount of accomplished SMART goals, increase access to trauma-sensitive and multicultural training, decrease feeling of low expectations, increase engagement of program platforms, increase engagement of program platforms such as Instagrams, Facebooks, websites. For the medium outcome, decrease behavioral issues from foster youth, increase school involvement and training, increase participation in social skill groups and activities, decrease absences from schools, decrease differential treatment from child-serving professionals having low academic expectations. And for our long outcomes, increase academic success, increase knowledge of life skills, increased trauma-informed staff, increase engagement in college/vocational applications. Lastly, our impacts would be the youth from the IYRT program have developed self-sufficiency and ability to navigate adulthood, increased amount of foster youth earning high school diplomas and pursuing higher education, enhanced life skills such as improved physical and mental health and the ability to build lasting relationships, low rates of foster youth becoming unemployed or homeless. The IYRT mentees can return as a mentor to lead future mentees.
Before addressing the evaluation methods, it is important to recall the mission and purpose of the given program. The IYRT is a program designed to help foster, probation, or underserved youth participate in counseling that is geared to help transition them into a self-sufficient adulthood. As described in the logic model, there are proposed short, medium, and long-term outcomes. These are guiding factors behind the evaluation questions being asked by the stakeholders. Evaluation question 1. Are there any domains of life that the program should be but is not currently addressing? The IYRT focuses on educational workshops, properly training their mentors, and activities to promote a healthy lifestyle. What this evaluation question gets at is what parts of life might the program currently be missing. For example, one thing that might not be covered in this program is financial literacy, such as how to manage your money, budgeting, credit cards, taxes, etc. The youth in this program will be going out into the real world independently, and financial literacy is very important to financial stability. This evaluation question will help guide the evaluation to see any gaps in what might be getting looked over currently, but could be beneficial to those participating in the program. Evaluation question 2. Which program activities are related to insignificant or unsuccessful outcomes? This question is important to the evaluation because it will help shed light on any activities in the program that are counterproductive to the goals or that are simply not helping get significant growth. If anything is identified, this will allow the program to get rid of components of the program that are not working and make room for more activities or training that will be helpful to the program. This evaluation question relates to the kind of evaluation chosen for this program because it is interested in the implementation. Evaluation question 3. What kinds of training will the child-serving professionals participate in that will make them better equipped to work with this program population? The IYRT is designed where the mentors are former foster, probation, or underserved youth who are able to provide help to these minors through their own experiences. However, it is important to note that trauma can be handled in various different ways because of individual differences, big or small. It must be kept in mind that just because one individual experienced trauma one way, it does not mean that another individual will have the same experience or the same outcomes. This evaluation question is interested in seeing what training is being used to better prepare these mentors to provide the intensive mentoring services. This question, along with the previous two, are all related to the kinds of evaluation chosen for this program because they either look at the development or implementation of the program. Evaluation question 4. Is there an increase in academic success for system-involved youth that have participated in the IYRT program? As illustrated on the logic model, IYRT strives to improve overall academic success for their system-involved youth. This evaluation question tackles the issue of whether the program being introduced to the community will see concrete results. The stakeholders are seeking improvements in the academic portion of the youth participants' lives and question 4 is aimed towards observing any positive outcomes pertaining to graduation rates.
So for the methods, the kind of evaluation utilized will be both developmental and formative evaluation. The developmental aspect of this evaluation relates to the development of the IYRT mentoring program and the creation of the training curriculum for IYRT staff and child-serving professionals. This can be seen in question 1 that calls on the attention of what needs further development in the program and training curriculum. The other type of evaluation is formative. Formative evaluation relates to the improvement stakeholders are looking for in their program, whether it be the actual program execution, further development on current methods, or revisions to existing services. Questions 2, 3, and 4 build on the formative evaluation by assessing what needs improvement after the program has been developed and implemented in the community, and be informed on what specific training child-serving professionals are expected to gain from the program's resources. For evaluation design, the proposed evaluation will use a mixed design approach, utilizing both quantitative and qualitative measures. Quantitative was chosen because it is control-sensitive and more structured. Meanwhile, qualitative was chosen to be effective in gathering more rich and contextual data. Moving on to Table 1, the Evaluation Management Plan. Question 1 will be answered by gathering data on youth services provided by the program and whether it will aid the system-involved youth in all domains of life by making a focus group of the targeted population and utilizing an interview script. Additionally, assessing questionnaires to foster care departments and probation youth offices to aid in addressing more hidden issues from our system-involved youth. And lastly, a focus group with former system-involved adults that can provide us with feedback about their previous experience being in the system and what challenges they faced. Question 2 will be answered by providing a pre-test and post-test to our system-involved youth. Surveys will be given to all participants before their involvement with the program and after their commencement of the program. This will allow the evaluation team to better evaluate which components of the program did not bring about significant outcomes, and also which parts of the program did not provide help in transitioning them into adulthood. This touched upon the formative evaluation and can better equip the program in making changes to better reach their targeted audience. Question 3 can be addressed by using individual in-person interviews and selecting a variety of child-serving professionals. Interviews can establish privacy and can help the stakeholders gather more in-depth information about how the professionals feel dealing with system-involved youth and what specific training they want the program to provide. This may also be a great way to give the silent stakeholders a voice. The interview will be unstructured to allow flexibility and create a more conversational environment. Lastly, question 4 will be answered by the IYRT staff looking over current archival data of the County of San Bernardino high school records to oversee the graduation rates of system-involved youth participating in the program. This can aid in observing how the youth perform in school as well as evaluate whether or not the program resulted in the impact of increased academic success and increased graduation rates.
Moving on to the analysis plan. This is deciding what will be the most appropriate analysis based on the type of data collected. The evaluation questions are used as a guide in the creation of the analysis plan. Our evaluation will use a mixed methods approach. When looking at the quantitative data approach, we will be using proper data analysis software such as Atlas. When looking at evaluation question 2, we see that it's a comparative question. Our independent variable is nominal and our dependent variable is interval. The statistical test we will be using is a paired sample t-test, which is a correlational test. Correlational test compares means from the same group at different times, which is why we're using it. We'll be looking at our pre-post test results. And Likert scale tests are treated as interval data when analyzed, which is what our pre-post survey consists of. For evaluation question 4, we see that it's a comparative question as well. Our independent variable is nominal and our dependent variable is ratio. We'll be using a ANOVA test, which is a regressional analysis. Regressional analysis compares variables between the counties we select and the graduation rates within those counties. To avoid bias results, we will select a county in similar rankings to San Bernardino School District. Next, we will be looking at qualitative data approach. The evaluation team will run an existing frameworks and schemes analysis. For evaluation question 1, we see that it's going to be consisting of semi-structured focus group and a survey. The coding strategies that we will be using is social coding and open coding. Social coding and open coding will be involved to reduce evaluator bias and increase multicultural validity. Social coding is when more than one coder is involved, and open coding can help find unintended outcomes. The strategies being used to help evaluators derive categories from the codes will consist of framework and schemes. The evaluator will check validity using triangulation, which is involving the use of different sources of data and information. Evaluation question 3 will consist of an unstructured individual interviews. The coding strategies that we will be using is social coding and open coding once again. The strategies being used to help evaluators derive categories from the codes is framework and schemes. The evaluators will check validity using member checks. We will check validity using member checks, which is an interpretation of data is shared with members of those groups whom the data was obtained from.